Today, I want you to think about something. Have you ever made the decision to be successful? I know, you've made decisions to take on some new endeavor, but have you ever made the decision to be successful? Think about it.
All right, decided to change it up a little bit. I was going to have a different Fiverr update for you, but I'm still doing some testing. But I am going to share something with you that was unexpected. Because, if you read the book, Making Money A to Z, Self Storage Unit Auctions, I always believe in running parallel sales items. I'll give you an example. Like in the book, if you have a nice item on eBay, also advertise it on Craigslist. Same listing, same terminology, same language, everything. Get more traction that way. Well, I did the same thing with Fiverr, but I did not put it into the last course because, there were some people that were like running out the gate and other folks were still trying to get their feet wet. What I did was put an ad on Craigslist with one of my Fiverr gigs. And it wasn't the Tyrone stuff or anything like that. No, it was something totally different. And I got one customer and I made $500. And the thing is, this was a gig that I was going to put on Fiverr. Essentially, I'll teach you how to do YouTube videos. Put it on Craigslist, went in. And initially, it was supposed to be just a quick little consult, 30 minutes. I'll teach you how to do it. And the people liked me so much, they was like, hey, could you do X, Y, and Z for us? And I was like, well, sure, it'd be $500. And they're like, okay. And it was just like that. And that's the whole point of this video. When you're doing your Fiverr gigs, really put a lot of thought into them. Really, really think. Because it may not work on Fiverr, but it may work somewhere else. And the thing is, you never know what you can leverage that thing into. So if you're running your gigs on Fiverr, also run them on Craigslist. I'm not going to get too hot and deep and heavy on that right now because I'm starting the Craigslist course tomorrow, which will start here first, and then I'll move out to the other folks a little later on. But essentially, the hustler mindset income generation courses are about making money any way that you legally can. That's the gist. That's the whole thing. That's the juice. That's the secret sauce, whatever you want to call it. And I really thought that with Fiverr, and I love the site, and it does provide opportunities, but it is a limited framework. And Fiverr has some very eBay-ish, Amazon-ish, even YouTube, because YouTube does not allow you to post a link in the video that will take you outside the video. I think they're changing that, but it's pretty much to keep you on the platform, and that's the way Fiverr. You can't advertise other things, you can't say anything that will get you additional juice or traction. But you don't have to do that with Fiverr. If you have a good gig, let's say it's working well on Fiverr, right? Keep the gig on Fiverr, but put another gig at a higher price point on Craigslist. Now, the cool thing about Craigslist now, and it's been there for like a year or so, but you can renew ads. And we're going to get into that technique into the Craigslist master course. I'm not going to get into it now, but there's a way that once you reach a certain weight in terms of marketing pieces, you could see some serious benefit because it is truly a numbers game. It is truly a numbers game because the thing is, there's so many people out there competing for eyeballs. The people who want this, people that want that it's very hard to stand out amongst the noise. But if you have 18 different horses making noise, you're in a better situation. Now, I'm going to segue into multiple streams of income. I have been big on multiple streams of income pretty much since, I'm going to say 2000, since 2000. Even when I had a job, I was still doing other stuff on the side. It was nice and it was extra. I think creating multiple streams of income now is mandatory. It's not just something nice to have. It's necessary. You have to have it. And with the Hustler Mindset Project, Oh no, I thought it was a squirrel or something. But no, with the Hustler Mindset Project, we're going to work on developing multiple streams of income based on your strengths. Because one of the things that happens online is people want to do what they see what Bill is doing and what this other guy's doing. And a lot of people are afraid to do your own thing. So if you're developing your gigs and it's not working on Fiverr, it doesn't mean that it will not work somewhere else. And that's something that I didn't really put out there because, it was also my birthday last week and I was sucked into some activities. So I got a little behind. But that's why I could not put up the results of the test, because the thing is, you have to run a lot of tests. And that's something that people don't like, because testing is sometimes fun, sometimes it's not fun, sometimes it's boring, sometimes it's dry. But you have to do it. So when you're putting up your Fiverr gigs and they don't work out, that's not a fail. That's just the first leg in your test. Then you put up another one, then you put up another one, then you put up another one. And I have been looking past Fiverr because I put some gigs up, and the thing is, I just introduced that first because it's free, it's cheap, it's easy, and if you have a marketable talent, skill, something that someone would pay you $5 for, it's a way to make this course free. Now, I think as we move on, especially with the Craigslist course, it's going to be quite substantial. It's going to be a rewrite of making money, not making money. It's going to be a rewrite of pimping Craigslist for fun and profit. And it's going to be radically different because I want to say one of the core values of the hustler mindset is looking at the world through a different lens, and the limited framework that is pushed upon us, it's good because the thing is, well, I said it's good for the people who own the framework. It may be good for you, it may not be. But one of the things that I see that's emerging, Facebook is its own ecosystem. Amazon is its own ecosystem. YouTube is its own ecosystem. Fiverr, they're trying to create their own ecosystem. Twitter is a weird one. It's an ecosystem. It does get the word out and it starts communication and it starts conversations. But in terms of marketing, depending on what you're selling, it's pretty ineffective. And there's a lot of research on that. But essentially, you have to know what you're dealing with to be successful. If you don't know the rules of engagement, you could cross a boundary and actually create a problem for yourself, and you're not even aware of what's going on. I've done that several times on this online community because there's so many rules. But the first rule here in the hustler mindset is it's about you. It's about you, your interest, and increasing and making your life happier, more productive, and making money. Because that's one of the tenets here, because this is not a namby-pamby, we are the world, feel good because I say I feel good. It's about doing things, accomplishing goals, and reaching those goals, and benefiting from the self-esteem and confidence that comes from that. Now, a few more wrinkles here, and I'm going to give you an update because, like I said, I don't have all the research from the Fiverr testing that I'm doing because it's taking a little longer than I thought. But I do have some good news with going through this process because, you went through the whole thing, you wrote down all your marketable skills and stuff. You may have fleshed out something that you've forgotten about that you could do that you can make money because you don't have to be limited to Fiverr. And also, another thing that we're going to get to is old school marketing. Because I went to this e-commerce conference a few weeks ago, and I got a lot of great information. And everyone's going Twitter, Facebook, get on, your social media. Well, 90% of all commerce is taken outside of the internet. That's right. E-commerce represents 8 to 10% of all commerce right now. I know you're going, but I bought my television off Amazon, and I bought this, and I bought that. And I want you to think about it. You may be an early adapter because people of similar mindsets tend to hang out with similar mindsets. My mother, her last 3 televisions, she went and, bought or had one of us get them. You got to think about the demos. And when I say demos, it's demographics. There's, me, I'm an early adapter. I embrace technology. I like technology. I have many friends who could give a damn about technology. I have friends who are very good in their jobs and make a lot of money, and they have old phones. So as long as I pick it up and dial it and I can hear, I'm good. They don't care about all these apps. They don't care about any of that stuff. And I think in the noise of social media, we forget about those people when, if you think about it, there are more people in your sphere of influence who are apt to be influenced by old school marketing methods than social media methods. Because the deal is with social media, there's too much of it. There's Twitter, there's Facebook. I am oblivious to probably 98% of the stuff that comes across my Twitter feed and maybe 90% of the stuff that comes across my Facebook feed, because Facebook has changed the platform. They've created all these things, timelines, to the point that people who I would naturally get their stuff, I have to go look for them. And I only have a handful of people who are interested enough for me to actually go look for them. So I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. And there's all kinds of stuff, and there's all kind of chatter, and there's all kind of conversations. But is your goal as a person who's looking to make additional income, is your goal to have a conversation? No, it's not. And see, that's where the noise becomes a problem. Because every time that I've made a change that removed some clutter from my website, that removed clutter from YouTube, my sales went up. I've got 3.5 years of data on this, and that's one of the reasons that the blog's looking kind of skimpy, because it really wasn't a factor in sales. My YouTube channel is the number one driver of all my sales. Number one. Hands, shoulders, feet, toes, ankles, and everything above everything else, because there's a higher level of engagement and it reaches more people. And I don't have to pay anything for it. But those are some of the concepts we're going to discuss, because I was going to do a social media course, and I'll still touch on it, but I don't want you to be seduced by social media, because essentially you can build relationships with people with social media, but it's not going to be, hey, friend me and you're good. You friend someone and you have a conversation with them. And you have another conversation with them. Then you have to think, how many people can you have these conversations with and they are going to be effective? Not very many. So you have to think about that. What's going to reach people, and this is from a business mindset, and have a sphere of influence where you're not running yourself ragged 24/7. You have to think about that, because there's some things that I've learned from being online, making money online, that I've made a lot of mistakes because I got totally seduced by social media, to the point I had my assistant doing tweets. I answered my own tweets, but I had her tweeting stuff and doing this stuff. But I also measure what I do, and I want you to do that. Whatever you do, measure your results. Keep track of your results. You have to do it. And when I started looking at the data, it was just like, this isn't working. Many people could say, hey, you need to do this. I actually spent money, took a Twitter course, which did help increase the number of followers, but it did not increase my income. That was the whole reason that I took that course, because I find it more engaging to actually talk to people, have real conversations versus, the Twitter thing. Because I've gotten a few Twitter conversations, but it's like, really, if we're going to talk this much, let's pick up the phone and have a real conversation. That's my mindset, and I'm not alone in that manner. But there's some people, they just want to tweet or do text messaging because they don't want to have a real conversation. They don't want the nuances or the obligation of a real conversation. Now, what I just said, there's a huge market. People are not having real conversations anymore. And that's one of the reasons that society's created this huge disconnect, that people are so disconnected. For people who can communicate and create real connections, and I'm not saying even friends or even acquaintances, but if you can actually make a real connection, there's a lot of money to be made in being able to do that, because so many people don't. Because the whole thing is to keep everything inward and to not, like I said, to not really put too much out there in terms of yourself and your effort. We're going to address so many different things here. Now, this is going to sound really crazy and it's going to sound off the wall, but I wasn't going to do it, but at some point it will be, and it will be called How to Introduce Yourself to Strangers. I know it sounds crazy, but I remember a few years ago, I was at a holiday party, and I was one of the first, and that's one of my Jordans in life. I'm usually one of the first guests to arrive, which means, if you're a helpful, charitable person, you're going to help the host do stuff because people sometimes are setting up for the party. So I come in, there's the host, and the host has her mother, an aunt, and another family member. And I walk in, hey, I'm Glendon, how you doing? Shake hands, hug, whatever. And I'm talking to the host. Then other people come in, and I notice how many people come in who did not do the thing that I did. Just walked straight in, kind of like a general way, hey, and just came in, no introductions. And these were professionals. And there are some people who are very good at that. There's some people who suck at it. I will tell you from experience that if you become very good at introducing yourselves to strangers, you're going to become really good at selling products, whether you're doing it online or you're doing it offline. Because what you're doing is introducing your service, your skill, your product to a stranger. That's the genesis for everything that we're going to do in terms of making sales. You have to do it. And if you become very comfortable in doing it in real life, it becomes really easy to do online. I'll tell you a little secret. Back in the day when I used to do online dating, I stopped, and I'll tell you why. I was really good at it. My friends were I actually wrote many ads for friends who knew about it. It's like very effective ads. I was very, very good at meeting women online. And the reason I was real good at meeting women online, I was real good at meeting women in public. I am the type of guy that will go up, I've actually gone to a table of 4 women, and, just quick little tip, if you go, introduce yourself, and also isolate who you like, and make that happen really quickly. Isolate who you like and see if you can say, hey, can I have a moment of your time and kind of separate her and talk to her, then do it real quick. But the whole deal is that people who are really good with doing things online tend to be really good in doing them in real life. There's a correlation there. So if you suck at certain things in real life, it shouldn't come to a surprise to you that you're going to suck on these similar things online. And I'm about to move from another location because I'm outside, and there's these 2 wasps, and it looks like they're screwing or something. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but I'm about to bounce. Yeah, I had to get away from the wasp because I don't know, they were just coming up from the table. I'll go out there later and put something in there, but wasp came up, and the stinger thing was just vibrating, and the other one was like I didn't know what the hell they were doing. But you know what? I didn't want to take any chances. I'll handle that later, but I'll get back to what I was talking to with you. Okay, now I did say I will tell you why I stopped the online dating. It becomes a crutch. Because if you're really good at something, you tend to default to what's easy to do. And I found myself that essentially you can meet 20 women in one night online, make decisions, hey, she's good, she's not, I like her, I don't like her, whatever. Whereas in real life, depending on, where you go, how often you get out, it could take you a month or 2 to go to meet the same number of women. So in terms of efficiency, it's very good. But also it weakens your real life skills. And that's where we are as a society. A lot of people, in terms of real life social skills, are very, very weak. Don't know how to make an introduction. Don't know how to introduce themselves to a stranger. Don't know how to shake hands. These things are still very important to a large segment of society that spends money. The demographics on my YouTube channel have really moved up because in the beginning, I was building. But I've noticed I have a lot of people between the ages of 35 and 55. That's a high spending demographic. female, black, white, whatever. It's a very high spending demographic because these people have homes, they have lives, they have kids in college. So they spend a lot of money on a lot of different things. But that's why I don't do the online dating thing because it just will make you, it will ruin you. It really would. But in terms of going through these old school lessons of meeting people, hanging out with people, and building networks, if you can build a 25-person network in your neighborhood or your city, your town, or say maybe 50 or 100 people, you can build a network of thousands on the internet because of the efficiencies and the economy of scales that come into play and time. So if you're finding it very challenging to build or engage online, I'm going to bet you money that you're going to find it challenging and difficult to engage in real life. So with the video, and there's always an activity, because tomorrow, like I said, this week there's going to be 3 videos. It was supposed to be last week, but like I said, I got pulled away. You need to go out and introduce yourself to 10 strangers. Male, female, dog, cat, doesn't matter. 10 people that you don't know this week. Introduce yourself, get their name and phone number for some reason. You can think of whatever. It's not about selling. It's about, hey, I am so and so. Hey, may I have your contact information? For some reason, like I didn't do it because I've been, on this new diet thing, and I'm eating more at home than out. So I'm not really running into a lot of people. But when I do go out, I make it a habit to talk to someone that's next to me, restaurant, whatever. And, going forward, I'm following my own advice because the last time I did it 4 times, and I've given out a copy of my book to build engagement and relate to people in my neighborhood. Because the same thing that I'm telling you, I'm exercising. I'm doing it as we speak because social media is great, but the lack of engagement, the lack of meat in the meal is kind of thin unless you really build it up. Because I've noticed that people that I talk to, say 10 times, I have a higher level of engagement, and even if that 10 times was 2 years ago, we're still good. Whereas if people that I talk to once, it's kind of like, I'm just a dude online. That's all I am. I'm just a dude. I haven't really brought anything into their lives. I haven't really done anything. They haven't done the same for me, and this is not an issue of good or bad. It's more of, that's just the way it is. Why should they listen to me? Why should they be influenced by me? I'm just a dude online. By creating that engagement and really building something, you're going to get incalculable dividends. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of research, putting this together, and I'm getting ready to make a lot of changes in how I do things because all of those old school methods, being an outside salesperson, doing presentations, things that I never really thought would go beyond what I was doing at that point, have proven to be immeasurable into my current success because I know how to build relationships. I know how to talk to people. I know how to introduce myself to strangers, and that's why I'm very good at selling stuff. And that's the deal. I don't care who you are, what you do, you're going to be selling something. You're going to be selling yourself. You're going to be selling a service, a product, a dream, a charity, whatever you want to. And people don't like to use the word selling or marketing. They want to change it up to you move someone or you influence someone. When actually it's selling and marketing. Marketing is, hey, I am this, I have this. Selling is, this is how it's going to benefit you and I want you to buy it. We live in a world where certain sales methods just don't work because consumers are more savvy and they can see it coming a mile a minute. But you can still say, hey, this is what I have to offer and I want you to buy it. Or you can be like Apple with $1 billion advertisement budget and you just keep populating and selling, that's the thing. But for a small business or a beginning business, you are a salesperson for your organization. And if your organization does not have a salesperson, it's not going to be around for long. Just straight up. All right, so tomorrow, going to be kicking the the Craigslist Mastermind course. We're going to do the first section, and it's going to be a little different than anything I've ever done before. So look out for that. And remember, not the $5 foot long. Do it again. 10. You're going to go out and meet 10 people. You're going to introduce yourself to 10 strangers this week. Hello, I'm so-and-so. Doesn't have to be it could be a guy, it could be a dog, it could be a cat, it could be old people, it could be young people, it can be the way. Or for some of you, it could be your neighbor. You've been living in this house for 5 or 6 years, and all you know is that's Ted across the street, and his wife has red hair. That's all you know. So you can do that too. All right, so that's the deal, and I will see you in the next video.